My next guest joining me, world-class kickboxer Raymond Daniels. Thank you for the time, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Can't complain, man. Just taking it slow, day at a time.
Getting ready for a fight. You're kind of one of those guys that I feel like is a consummate martial artist. So is there any difference for you in your day-to-day training to specific fight camp preparation?
No, I'm always training each and every day to try and make myself better and to compete against world-class athletes and stuff like that. So, had to do some different changes over training this last week leading up to the camp. But otherwise, no, training's been going great. Been training over at a classic fight team. My coach Tyler Wambos with Ramon Espada at Espada Boxing, and so everything's been going great with training camp.
And then just generally, as a martial artist, do you have a different end goal for being a martial artist versus being a fighter, or do you have just one set goal for you?
I have a different goals as far as that goes. I mean, my goal as a martial artist and as a fighter is to be the greatest of all time in my sport, and to put together, accolades that have never been touched or seen before. As a martial artist, I fight. That is part of my art and stuff like that. But the whole respect discipline side of it, to me, is what is the important side of the art. So the fighting part is like a commercial, so to speak, for me to be able to get out and show people what the beauty of my art is. But it's really in about helping other people and passing on the knowledge and stuff like that. And that's what I'm doing. I have my own system that I'm coming out with called Evolution Fighting System. I have a martial arts school called World Champion Karate, where I have all my karate students, and I pass on the knowledge and experience that martial arts has given to me over the years.
How long had that been, your thought, your goal to build your own curriculum and have your own system?
Well, I mean, it started a while ago as I was coming up and doing this sport, because I've trained in a bunch of different arts. I've trained in Kempo, Shotokan, American Taekwondo, Black Belt Muay Thai as well. So I've done all these different arts. So, and if you notice, my fighting style is a lot different than anybody else's fighting style. I kind of the art of hitting without being hit, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's fighting is always like the holidays. I think it's always better to give than to receive. I've had the opportunity to work with great athletes too, and help them with their training, like GSP. I've gotten to work with Woodley, Tyron Woodley, Rory McDonald. I've gotten to work with all these different champions, and the information that I'm able to give to them and stuff like that is I see how beneficial it is to people that are on a world-class level. I've been motivated for a while to kind of come up with my own system that I've come up with. That'll be launching this year.
Would it be accurate to call your style of fighting particularly kind of something from an audience perspective that'd be edge of your seat? Because the way your hands are down and the way you're spinning techniques, you're always expecting something dynamic and explosive, it feels like, from an audience perspective.
That's honestly what I like to do. I like to keep the audience on the edge of their seat, where they're going to stand up, where you're going to give them a move that they maybe saw in the new Power Ranger movie or Ninja Turtle movie, something that they like. People don't really do that in real life. They do that in a movie theater, and that's what makes the movie exciting, is because they do crazy moves like that, and people say, oh, well, he fights with his hands down, or he's throwing all these crazy kicks. The hands-down thing is understanding and controlling distance and space, and how much energy you're having to use. Having your hands up takes a lot more energy, but controlling space takes a lot less energy. So, and then the high yield on my kicks is high risk, high reward. I've seen a lot of people, especially in the MMA and kickboxing and stuff, throw a crazy technique and they miss, and then how you doing, sir? Excuse me one second.
Fine.
sorry about that. Visiting my son in the hospital right now. So, so I have high risk techniques. They have a huge upside, but it's a huge downside if you don't know how to control them and you miss the technique, whatever the case is. So, I enjoy throwing them because it keeps me entertained and it seems to keep the crowd entertained at the same time, and it gives them something they haven't seen before.
Talking about enjoyment, it seems like when we've seen you in action, whether I've seen you fight Glory, Bellator, you seem to always truly be enjoying what you're doing.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I truly wasn't enjoying what it is that I'm doing. I'm very fortunate and very blessed to be able to do what I love to do for a living, and in that regard, I would do it even if I wasn't in the position that I am to fight in front of the world. But it's even that much more of an enjoyment to know that you get to go on Spike TV, go on in front of Bellator Kickboxing and present your art to the world. I've been working on this, my whole life. So now everybody gets to see me kind of paint my masterpiece, So I don't think there's a better feeling in the world.
It's probably a giant complex answer, but what was it and how did you develop that ability to control distance and more the judging of distance to be from your zone of where you're safe to jumping into that attack level for yourself, because you do it in and out so fluidly?
Well, over the years, I come up from, as you know, a karate background. So I fought in a sport called sport karate, which is like karate tournament fighting, and I've been one of the greatest fighters to ever do that. I've won every sport karate title in the world, multiple times over, and I've dominated that sport for a number of years. So in that sport, you learn how to be very accurate with timing and precision. So don't have a lot of wasted motion, and it's about being able to hit your opponent first in a specific target area. So I became the best at that. So it allows me to control distance and dictate the pace of a fight, and always allows me to cause more damage onto my opponent than they can to me. Even though I'm older than most of my opponents, none of them will ever be as fast as I am because they have never done the sport that I have, and they don't understand my sport. So therefore, it's kind of the things that you don't know are the most dangerous. I respect their sport and understand it and study it, but they don't necessarily understand or know mine. So I feel that that's what gives me the advantage with distance, being able to come inside, outside.
From already having then dominated that sport, your sport originally, was moving over to kickboxing a pursuit of, again, showing that you could be the greatest fighter of all time by putting style versus style, so to say?
Yeah, I mean, I like to display my my style and my skill set kind of to the world. People think, oh, the karate stuff that doesn't work. That's just it. It just depends on each practitioner. That's like you can say, oh, Muay Thai doesn't work or Jiu-Jitsu doesn't work, but it just depends who that person is that is the practitioner and how they're capable of showing the beauty of that art. Because each art is supposed to be basically like a deadly art, that is almost like flawless, so to speak. Even though each art has its own, hiccups in it, so to speak. But to be able to show where I come from and to represent my sport or my martial art is a great feeling. And it produced new challenges for me because I had accomplished all I could in my particular field. This was the next one, so for me to continue to evolve, to continue to set new goals for myself, to continue to challenge myself. Every league I've ever competed in, I've risen, to the top. That's been my goal. Whether it was when I was in World Combat League, when I was in Glory, and now here in Bellator. Each one, I've climbed the ladder from the bottom where people didn't know who I was or didn't believe in the style that I was fighting, and yet I've still dominated in each and every one of those leagues and become the number one fighter.
Tell us about the Bellator title.
The Bellator title. I've been having this on my vision board for some time now. awesome to finally see it, right at the tip of my fingers where I can grasp it here in a week. So I've really been looking forward to obtaining this title. I know Bellator has put in a lot of energy and time into the Bellator Kickboxing brand and trying to really bring kickboxing here to America because it's really big over in Europe. So I'm really looking forward to going out and being that next great American kickboxer that I feel that the sport really, really needs. So obtaining this title is super important to me, and I'm really looking forward to grasping it.
How does the competition in front of you, this fight coming up, differ from some of these other high-level experiences you've had?
Cream Gaji is a great champion. I take nothing from him at all. I mean, the man has, I think, over 100 fights under his belt. So his experience alone in the ring is even outweighs my experience in the ring. So he has more, like, as far as knowledge and fight experience in the ring, and that's to his advantage. But there's no way to calculate what my experience is in fighting because he has 100 fights, which is a lot of fights for kickboxing. But if you calculated all the fights that I've actually had in my sport career, I've had tens of thousands of fights. So, but that can't be calculated into a format. Does that make sense? So I think for me it's an awesome challenge, and that it's an awesome way to go and display that even though somebody as seasoned as that, when they come up against a fighting style similar to mine, will give that style a lot of problems. So I'm looking forward to going out and competing against him. He'll be a really strong challenge for me. He's a strong competitor, and I know he doesn't want to lose this title, but unfortunately, that's what happens when you are the person on top. People want to take what you have, and I plan on taking that.
You look forward to them becoming the hunted after this?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know that once I take this title, there's another young and up and comer person that was going to want to take it from me. A Gaji, in fact, after I take it from him, is going to want it back from me. That just kind of comes with the turf. You know what I mean? If you want to be on top, you got to make sure that you know and be prepared to be the one that's being hunted. Because right now, I've been hunting for this Bellator title. Now it's my opportunity to seize it. After I seize it, that's just the first step in one of my goals. So,
do you have a prediction for us on how you seize the title?
I think Gaji's a strong fighter. I know he tries to wear and tear and take a lot of what his fighters are going in and try and come on later in the round and in the later rounds and stuff like that. But I don't think he's experienced and an athlete as explosive and dynamic as myself. So honestly, believe it's going to end as I'd say a high 80% of my fights end in a knockout, and most likely be a spin kick to the right side of the temple.
Pretty specific there. I like it. Raymond Daniels, thank you so much for the time, sir.
All right, no problem at all.
It's great talking to you.
Have a great one.
You too.